Well, happy Thursday. Welcome to the very first Real Fitness Roundtable. I am super excited to welcome you all to the Real Fitness Roundtable, and I thank you so much for joining me. Maybe you're taking a little time out of lunch. Maybe you just hopped on just for this. In any case, I thank you so much for joining me. I am Adina, and I am really excited to have you here with me today for this very first webinar. I do want to let you know a little bit, if you've never been on a Zoom webinar before, just how it works, so that way you can participate with me. Down at the bottom, there is a chat, and within the chat, you can choose to have your comments shared with all the panelists or all the panelists and the attendees. So totally up to you if you want to share your comments just with me or with everybody who is joining us. And you can write questions to me or comments about what I'm talking about. And we're going to test it out right away just to make sure, because I told you, of course, that this presentation is going to be about motivation. So I would like to know right now, how's your current motivation? How are you feeling? Like, a 1 would be, I have no motivation at all, and a 5 would be rock star status. So let me know how your motivation is feeling right now. That way I'll know that you figured out how to use the chat, and I know that you are with me. So I see a 1. I got a 1, I get a 3, a 4 and 5. Some days a 1, some days a 5. Yeah, like this is kind of what's going on right now. Definitely fluctuating all over the place. I've got a 2. So, a lot of people are really facing some challenges with motivation right now with everything that's going on around us. This is obviously a very challenging time. And some people are just challenged with motivation on a regular basis, and it has nothing to do with a pandemic. So yeah, some days 1, some days 5, great. So I can see that you've all found the chat. That's fantastic. As we go along, if you have any questions or comments, you can pop them in there. I'll try to keep my eye on it. And if I miss your question, I will come back to it at the end. So it's kind of hard to talk and read at the same time, but I'm going to do my best, right? What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen because I have prepared a little presentation that I want to walk you through, and that will help me introduce myself and also give you some tips about motivation and things like that. So I would like to know if you can see the presentation. If you can see the presentation, please just give me a thumbs up in the chat bar. Oh, I've got some yeses. Fantastic. Because, technology is great until you screw it up, and that happens. So I've got the technology going. That means we are ready to rock and roll. We're ready to get excited, and I cannot wait to share some information with you about how to be the best version of yourself. My voice is on and off. Is anybody else having trouble hearing me? I'm not sure if that would be my connection or it might be your connection if you are having trouble. Yeah, so it sounds like most people can hear me, so that is fantastic. And I'm sorry that some people are having trouble. It might be your connection. So maybe if you can get closer to your router or your Wi-Fi, whatever you're using. So, oh, good, seems that it's working. Okay, perfect. So we've got all that out of the way. Let's jump right in because I want to be respectful of everybody's time, because that's how it works. I know that everybody is busy, and I really do appreciate that you are joining me for a little while today. So let's head right on. who am I? So like I said, I'm Adina. I am a wife and a mom and a triathlete. I have been married I just celebrated my 19th wedding anniversary a couple days ago. I've got two awesomely challenging teenagers, because that's what teenagers do, who we absolutely adore. They're great kids, and they certainly keep us on our toes. I'm a triathlete. I have worked my way up and even finished an Ironman triathlon. We'll talk about that later. I'm an entrepreneur. I have started my own business and am building that, kind of as we speak. But most of all, I'm just a real person. I'm a regular person. I'm very simple. People tease me all the time. So I've had the same haircut for forever and ever. I don't wear makeup. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is so great. I don't have to put makeup on. I'm saving so much money." It's like, nah, I'm already there. I'm just a regular person, and my mission is to really kind of show everybody that even as a regular person, you can do extraordinary things. So that's a little bit about me. I want to tell you about my journey and how I got to where I am. So I started my, I guess, physical journey a long, long time ago. Ever since I was in high school, I was overweight. So I'm actually a smaller size now than when I was in high school, which is kind of crazy for me. And my entire adult life, I struggled with weight. And it was kind of strange because even though I was overweight, it never kind of stopped me. I always was very active and did tons of different things. I didn't have any other health problems. The doctors would just say, yeah, you're in great health, but you could lose a few pounds. So I never really did anything about it. I was just going along with my regular life. I traveled a lot. I went, I hiked and I biked, and I played rugby, and I thought I was like, well, I can do all these things, and I really like to eat, so why bother, right? And of course, I really dealt with emotional eating. When you're overweight, you're like, oh, no one likes me, so food is your friend. And I dealt with a lot of that. And over time, I was just like, that's just how it is. That's how my body is, and that's fine. I kind of just decided to accept that. But then I got to a point, I met my husband while we were living in France, which was, crazy story in and of itself. That, I was in Hartford, he was in Boston. We both went on an exchange to France, and that's where we met, which is crazy. And here we are now, happily married, 20 some odd years later. And while I was happy to be married and we were ready to have kids, I said I was over 200 pounds. And there was no way that I was going to get pregnant and have kids. I'm only 5'2". So like in the end, I have a tiny frame. And I just knew that it was dangerous for me to be carrying around that extra weight, to risk gestational diabetes, and who knows what other health issues I could have developed if I didn't address my weight as I was getting older. So I finally took control. I took care of my nutrition. I started focusing on exercise in a productive way. And in about 4 months, I lost over 30 pounds. And little by little, I started to get my confidence back. I started to feel proud of myself. I realized that I didn't have to hide behind the baggy clothes anymore. And eventually, I actually got up enough courage to wear a bikini, which is what you see in the picture here. And it's kind of funny because I never wanted to wear a bikini. And people started saying to me, wow, you look so great. You should wear a bikini. And I was like, why? Bikinis are for skinny people. And even though I had lost such weight and I was feeling strong and great about myself, I still don't have a super skinny body. And I just always saw all these people in bikinis saying, well, that doesn't look like me. I don't look like that. I don't belong in a bikini. And then it wasn't until I started doing all kinds of sports and I was so hot one day and I like ripped off my shirt in a sports bra and I was like, how different is this from a bikini? And eventually I got the courage up to purchase a real bikini, and I wore it. This was actually just on our vacation a couple of months ago in Cancun. And yeah, I was like walking around drinking in a bikini. So that was kind of, the physical part really translated into the emotional, the confidence, the pride that, hey, you know what? I am who I am. And I don't know if you're someone who has struggled before with weight, but it definitely is. It can be tough, and it's, the idea that your body is perfect the way it is always sounded crazy to me. But I finally got there, and I said, you know what, my body is great, I know I'm strong, and it made a big difference. So let's move along in my story, because there's a little bit more to tell, and I don't want to take your whole time talking about me, right? But it's important, because the other part of my story is that I'm missing. I thought I had another slide on here for you, but I don't. So the other part of my story is that I then started doing all these races and these triathlons and stuff. And I know a lot of people, I'm curious if anyone out there, have you ever done a 5K? If you've done a 5K, just give me a 1 in the comments. Has anyone out there done a 5K? Couple of 5Ks. Okay. Has anyone ever done a triathlon? If you've done a triathlon, type of 3, because there's 3 sports. That way I'll know the difference. Got lots of 0 triathlons. That's totally fine. We got some who have done 5Ks and triathlons. That's awesome. So a triathlon, for those of you who don't know what it is, it's a combination of swim, bike, and run. And my brother had been doing triathlons for a very long time. And he's like, come on, you should do a triathlon. And I had no desire. I was like, what? I was like, that's crazy talk. And I hadn't even ever run. And I was like, what am I even going to do with that? I can't do that. I'm watching him do these like 10-hour races, and it's crazy. So my kids started to do a lot. My kids actually started to do these triathlons because he's cool Uncle Mike, and they followed him along. And little by little, I was watching them, and it was so much fun. So a friend said to me, well, you should do it. I said, yeah, but I don't run. They're like, well, come on, let's do this race. It's 5K. It's totally easy. You just show up and, you run. I was like, well, I don't run. She's like, that's okay. You can walk. I said, well, gee, I can walk. That sounds good. But I said, all right, well, I'm going to walk. I'm going to try it. And I showed up, and I said, if I'm going to show up to this race, where I signed up, and I said, if I'm going to show up to this race, what am I actually going to do? I want to show up to the race at least a little bit prepared. So I called my triathlon brother, and I was like, what do I do? And he gave me some tips. And I showed up, and I finished the race. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. And I looked at my time, and I finished in 32 minutes. Not at all impressive time for a 5K, but I did it. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And I started saying, well, maybe I can do it in under 30 minutes. So I trained a little more, and I went out and I ran a little bit more, and I tried a little bit more this than what I was doing before. And I asked my brother some more questions, and I started going to some other races, and I worked my way up to a 10K and then a half marathon. I was like, okay, yeah, that's good. And everyone's like, you should do a marathon. And I was like, I'm not running any marathons, until I decided I wanted to run a marathon. And it was weird. I was like, I just kept getting more and more excited. And I would find races that had fun medals or cool t-shirts or things like that just kind of kept pulling me in. So I eventually did run a marathon, and I gained 15 pounds training for a marathon. And I said, well, this is ridiculous. There's no way that makes sense at all. Except that I would run, and I'd say, well, hey, great job. I can now have a burger and ice cream. And, I said, I have this long run to do at the end of the week. I'm going to carb load all week long, so I get to eat all the pasta and potatoes and stuff like that I want. Except it doesn't work that way. So I learned again. And every time I did a new adventure, a new race, I learned more. I learned how to deal with injury. I learned how to deal with my food and use that for nutrition. And it all brought me to this point that said, I can do it, and as long as I keep moving forward with what I'm doing, I can accomplish anything. And the day came that I actually signed up for and completed my first Ironman triathlon. And basically, for those of you who haven't done a triathlon, an Ironman, it's a serious race, right? It's actually one of the most grueling individual sporting events that you can participate in. And remember, I'm just a regular person. But I said, I'm going to do it. So 2.4 miles of swimming, 112 miles of biking, and a complete marathon later, I crossed the finish line. 15 hours. And it was one of the best days of my life. Not because of the race itself, not because now I can say I'm an Ironman, but because of everything I learned along the way. And the fact that I went from that overweight person who couldn't even run a 5K to someone who conquered their fear, figured out nutrition, decided to take care of their body and their health, and just I still just feel like a regular old person. And you can definitely do it too. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. You can definitely do it. There are no big secrets. I'm going to tell you that right now, because you look at these crazy athletes and you look at the people who are training all the time and they're like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. How many of you have ever looked at some of these people who run races and said, I can never do that? Give me a 1 in the comments if you were like, yeah, no, I could never do that. Yeah, that's so crazy. It definitely is crazy. So lots of 1s. But do you know, I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing. I didn't think I could do a 5K. And for all of you who are keeping track of time, that was 2013 when I did my very first 5K. And I completed the Ironman in 2018. So in a period of 5 years, I went from not being able to run a 5K to be able to complete a 15-hour race. 15-hour race. So here's the thing. You can definitely do it. And I'm going to, I love it. So I'm reading this comment that says, that Audrey says, I'm the one who tells my smaller, fitter friends if I can do it, anybody can. Absolutely. It's in your head. Rock on, Audrey. So here's the thing. Here are my tips for how you can do whatever you decide to. I'm not telling you have to go out and do an Ironman tomorrow. But I'm telling you, if you decide you want to do an Ironman, you definitely can, okay? And if it's not for you to do an Ironman, you pick what it is for you, Nancy. I want you to pick what you want to do. And these steps are going to apply to no matter what it is that you want to do, okay? So number 1 is start where you are. If you are a person who's already, running 5Ks or 10Ks or doing triathlons, I saw we had some people on who have already started that, then you start there. If you're someone who has run a 5K and you're like, oh, what do I do next? You start there. If you're the person who told me that you walked, I saw it scrolling by, but I didn't see the number, that long walking race, then you start there. If you are the person who has done none of this, you start there. Wherever you are is exactly where you belong. Because that's where you are, that's who you are. That's who you are, and that's all that matters. Oh, 39.3 mile walk. That's amazing. I've never walked 39.3 miles either, okay? So, but you start where you are, because right where you have no other place except where you are. And you are perfect where you are. Your body is just the body that you have and the body that you need. And whatever body you have, you can make it do what you want to do. So you just say, all right, I'm at the perfect place to start. I can start with whatever I want. When I started that 5K, I had no running experience. And that's where I started. And I just kept moving along a little bit at a time. So that brings us to number 2. Number 2, set small goals. You're not going to start at a 5K and say, I'm going to run an Ironman tomorrow. It's unrealistic. You're going to set small goals for yourself. When I started with the 5K, my only goal was to cross the finish line. That was my only goal, cross the finish line. I had no other expectations. And then when I signed up for my next 5K, I changed it. I said, okay, well, now I knew that I could do it in 32 minutes. My next goal was break 30 minutes. And then the next goal that I set was to do a 10K. So each time I set my goal, it was based off of something that I've already achieved. It was based off of where I was. So you start where you are and you set that next goal to get where you are to the next step. You don't have to go from, doing 0 burpees to doing 100 burpees in 1 week. Unrealistic. And if you're thinking of that, saying, why would I want to do that? You're not going to do it. So you set the goal, a realistic goal that you can accomplish. As people always talking about, make your goals so big that it makes you want to throw up. Maybe. But in the end of the day, you want a goal that you can accomplish. Okay, so number 3, planning, tracking, and accountability. Planning, tracking, and accountability are the 3 tools that are going to get you to success every single time. I'm going to say that again. Planning, tracking, and accountability are the 3 tools that are going to get you to success every single time. If you have no plan, you don't know what you're doing. Even when I started with that first 5K, my plan was to run a little bit and get to the finish line. Get out there, just move a little bit and see what I could do. And then my plan was to hit 30. My goal was to get to break 30 minutes. So I made a plan. I'm going to run how many times a week? That was my plan. And I tracked it. Here's how many times I ran. Here's how far I ran. Here's how long I ran. Here's what time it took me. I kept track of how long I did it. And then the last part is accountability. Because without that accountability, you're never going to do it. You're going to get stuck on number 1, maybe number 2. My accountability was a couple of things. The very first thing was my brother. I kept calling him and telling what I was doing. And every time I told him that I was going to do something, I was like, I better do it because he knows I'm going to do it. The other piece of accountability was the race itself. You signed up for that race and I wanted the free t-shirt. How many people out there would do pretty much any race for a free t-shirt? Give me a 1 if you love a free t-shirt, or maybe you like the medal. I don't know. What do you like? Give me a 1 if you like the t-shirt. Give me a 2 if you like the medal. For me, it's always the t-shirt. Some people like the t-shirt. Some people like the medal. Oh, pint glass. That's a good one too. I've done races for pint glasses before. Absolutely. But the thing is, that tangible object, that reward, the bling, that's your accountability. Cool backpack, right on. So the backpack, the pint glass, the t-shirt, that's your accountability. And when you actually get to the race and get that reward, you're going to feel so great. So signing up for the race and having that t-shirt as your kind of carrot that you're dangling, that's what you need. And then you have this accountability factor. It might be your brother's on the other side of the country like mine was. You might get a coach. You might be part of an accountability group. I'm in like a million Facebook groups for running and triathlon and general fitness. Like, let me tell you, like, peer pressure on technology is amazing. Peer pressure on technology will get you so far. That is like awesome accountability. And number 4, best one, celebrate everything. Celebrate everything. I'm starting today. Woohoo! Rock on, and you celebrate that. I am going to try a 5K. Woohoo! You celebrate it. I signed up for the race. Yes! Shout it out. Signed up for my first race ever. Celebration is my jam. That's right, Nancy. You guys don't know Nancy, but Celebration is her jam. Signed up for my first race ever. Celebrate that out. You know? So you set your goals. I broke 30 minutes. Let me tell you, like, fast runners do not think breaking 30 minutes for a 5K is impressive. When I broke 30 minutes, you would have thought I just won the Olympics because I was having a party. 30 minutes, I'm under 30 minutes. And it was like 29:58, right? Who cares? I was under 30 minutes. You made a plan. Celebrate your plan. I kept track of my stuff. Celebrate that. Let me tell you something. Sticker charts, tracking, and accountability. Fill up a sticker chart. Yeah, I taught second grade for like 10 years. And you fill up a sticker chart. Make yourself a sticker chart. It is so rewarding. And celebrate every single sticker that's on there. It's amazing. And then the day that you hit that big goal, so I worked up to the 5K and the 10K, sprint try. The day I crossed the Ironman was like the biggest celebration ever. It was just the coolest thing. And I was, I crossed that finish line at like 11 o'clock at night, and it wasn't pretty. But I was nowhere near one of the top people, but I celebrated every minute of it. And I kind of am still celebrating. Like, some of it I just keep celebrating. It's awesome because it makes you feel good. And we need that. Every day there's something that you can celebrate along that journey, whatever it is, big, small. You do not have to wait to cross the finish line to celebrate. So, quick recap. I know it's still right on the screen, but quick recap. You start where you are. Set small goals that are realistic for you to achieve. Get your tools in place. Plan it out. Track what you're doing and find some accountability. And celebrate the crap out of it all. Because that's how it's all going to happen. So, speaking of celebrating, and I want to be mindful of your time. I know that I made a big deal about I had something huge to celebrate today. So here's the time for my big celebration. I am celebrating the grand opening of my company called ONeal Real Fitness. And this is big news because I have been working on this for probably over 6 months and even well beyond that. I used to be an accountant, then I was 10 years in teaching, and I have been doing some health and fitness coaching along the way. And boy, have I learned a whole lot through all of these endeavors to bring me to this point right now. And the exciting thing is that, now, thanks guys, I appreciate that. I have this, it's official, and it's kind of crazy. Like, I've been doing some stuff behind the scenes and I've been starting stuff, and people are asking me, like, what are you doing? Like, they knew I was involved with an MLM. They're like, are you still doing an MLM? Are you not? Like, what's going on? So here it is. Cat's out of the bag. And, I'm a regular person who really wants to just share with you that all regular people, see, you mess things up on live webinars, that all regular people can do big things. You definitely can. You can have the empowerment to reach any goal. It is attainable for you. It's a lifestyle, and you can do it. So my business is about helping you. My business is about helping you figure out where you're at and moving you along to that lifestyle. And the great thing is, here's how I can help. I have a website, adinaoneal.com. Like, if that's not official, I don't know what is. That was like, the day I did that, I was like super celebrating, like, oh my gosh, I have an actual website. It was crazy. And that's where you can find out how to work with me. 2 main options of how to work with me. I've got some online courses and I do individual consulting. So my big passion is triathlon. And today, for the first time, officially available is a course called Try Something New. So if you have been listening for a while and you're like, wow, maybe I can do a triathlon, then I would love for you to check out my new course so you can learn about it. Um, it is mainly fitness, but I also work with nutrition as well. I am largely fitness based, but you cannot be fitness based without nutrition. You have to have both together. If you listen to my stories, that yeah, I was doing all these wonderful exercises, but I gained 15 pounds running a marathon. You cannot have nutrition without, you cannot have proper fitness without nutrition. They definitely go together. Um, the online courses are very fitness based. So the Try Something New course is really about teaching you what triathlon is and getting you started and showing you the ropes, because it can be kind of scary and overwhelming. And I broke it down into some practical tips so that you can get started, complete with like training plan samples and just all the details. And it's available for the first time today, which is awesome. And I'm also developing a course called Find Your Finish, which is going to dive deeper into triathlon. That will be available in June. If you are like, yeah, I'm not at triathlon level, maybe I want to work on my fitness, then you can jumpstart your fitness. I have a course for that. Or if you already know some stuff and you want to just kind of pull it together, then you can check out the Take Control of Your Fitness. And honestly, like if you're looking at that saying, gee, I don't know what any of this makes sense to me or where I would be. Oh, thanks so much for joining, Amy. I don't know where I would even be. Then the consulting part, I do consulting for triathlon and health and fitness. So Liat, I hope I'm saying that properly. This is the consulting is where you would find out more about the nutrition part as well. And as a thank you, I appreciate that all of you guys. I know my Amy had to jump off, but I'll make sure that she gets the information. I really want to thank you all for joining me today and for all of your support. For this grand opening, I am offering 25% off of any of my online courses now through the end of April, and you would just use the code REALOPENING25, and you can find my online courses on my website. There's a training tab. That's where all the courses happen. And if you click on there and you find a course that you like, just pop in the code REALOPENING25. That's my thank you for being here and helping me celebrate. And like I said, you'll immediately get 25% off of any of those courses. So like I said, thank you so much for joining me. You can always email me at any time with other questions at hello@adinaoneal.com. Another one of those official business things, like so cool. I have my own email. And that's it. I'm going to turn the share off and just kind of check through and see. Wow, well, thanks to everybody. Wow, this is really great to see all these wonderful comments. And does anybody have any questions for me about oh, thank you to everybody. I'm so glad that I hope this was helpful for you all. And I'm just scrolling through to see if anyone had any other questions. I did see the question. Yes, sticker charts are the best, Michelle, of course. She's a teacher too, so she knows. Yeah, Tracy, first 5K in an hour and the last one under 45 minutes. Celebrate that out. Every time you get faster, celebrate it out, my friend. Oh, thanks for all the congratulations. Yes, an MLM is multi-level marketing. And it was a great way to learn and get some experience before I started my own business. So I know that they get a bad rap, but lots of really good information I learned from that. Thank you. Oh, thanks for the office upsite. Yeah, definitely check out the website. And I don't see any other questions on here. So, all right, that was a 5 minutes longer. That's really not too bad. I can talk and talk and talk. So I'm celebrating. Woohoo! I only went 5 minutes over. But listen, thanks so much. I had so much fun having you guys with me today. And like I said, I hope to hear from you. And if there's anything that I can do to help you out, if you have any other ideas um, for future webinars, I would love to do that. Thanks so much, Amanda. Thanks again for joining me. And I hope to see you guys at a race someday. All right. Have a great afternoon. And as I like to say, keep moving forward.